Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I told you so. Welcome back to another Domandgon Sports Talk post-game live edition, where we're going to be breaking down the most recent Ravens game, that being our Week 11 matchup with the Steelers, and with the Ravens with a disappointing yet not surprising loss. What was it? 16-18. And as I said at the beginning, I told you so, because if you guys remember, I'm going to jump straight into it real quick. I'm Gonz, that's Tom. If you all remember, the last thing I said of our pregame live show was, if we play their game and we get into a sort of 10-13, 10-16 type of game in the fourth quarter, the Baltimore Ravens will lose. And what happened? We lost, non-surprisingly. But anyway, Dom, how you doing? Doing all right?
No, I'm not doing okay. I'm actually very, very angry, and I'm going to hold in my thoughts until we get into the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, but that's the biggest takeaway for me. I mean, we're going to talk about everything: defense, offense, special teams, the good, bad, the ugly. But the Ravens made it Pittsburgh's type of game. Those nasty, low-scoring affairs where both teams are kind of just clawing at each other until one team breaks away at the end. And 99% of the time, it's Pittsburgh. And what happened? We got into a slugfest, which is what I said we should not do. Offense, again, struggles. We just cannot get out of our own way against this squad. I don't know what it is. But I said we needed to score 28 or 30 to win. We didn't even get close. And not surprisingly, it's a loss. I mean, I'm really, really not talking about – hold on, we're talking Ravens right now. I don't know. What you got any instant takeaways before we dive into what happened? What's your instant thought?
It's like everything we said in the pregame went through one ear and out the other. We literally said in the pregame, don't turn the ball over. What happened?
Oh, yeah.
3 of them things. Penalties kicked our behind today. We had like 11 or 12 penalties for over 80 yards today. It's like, wait,
yeah, unacceptable.
It's just bad. Like, I don't understand what is going on with this football team.
That was my biggest key to the game. Also,
it's like,
don't turn it over.
It's like
take care of the ball.
We literally talked about it. Protect the football. Like, I don't get it. Like,
and right out of the gate, second play of the game, the King over 500 touches since a turnover, and he fumbles.
I think they
right then and there, I knew this game was going to be gross. And I said, here we go again. The writing is on the wall.
Derrick Henry hasn't fumbled in 3 years.
Yeah. And he fumbles right there. Well, he did cough one up in the Bills game, but we got lucky and recovered it, if you remember. But that one, you got to hold the ball. And speaking of fumbles, Isaiah Likely, what are we doing? We're going to talk about that moment a lot more later, because I have a lot of things to say about that second fumble by Likely with less than 40 seconds to play in the half. But you know what? Let's start with a more little positive note, because I know we're about to let it rip on this offense. Defense, which is something we can't really say about this 2024 Ravens squad, is defense paved the way and kept us in the game. No touchdowns were allowed by this defense today. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, the Steelers finished the game with 18 points. Okay? That is 6 field goals. And you're telling me that the number one offense could not muster more than 18 points. I mean, it's ridiculous. Hats off to the defense. They played tough. I want to give a really big shout-out to Tre'Davious White. He had 2 huge plays when he was one-on-one with Pickens. broken up in the end zone for touchdowns, especially that one at the end of the game with 3 minutes left. Very clutch moment. He almost intercepted it. It was close. But shout out to him for making some plays. I know that Pickens had his yards. He had, 8 catches for 89 yards with one big deep bomb over Brandon Stevens. But guess what? They only kicked a field goal off of that. I mean, and off of the turnovers, the fumbles we touched on, no touchdowns. The defense locked them up and held them to 3 both times. So Ravens turned the ball over. They only got 9 points out of them. Okay? You've got to score more points with this caliber of offense. I mean, the world has been glazing our offense week in and week out. And do I think they're going to bounce back? Yes. I'm not saying it sucks because I'm just saying this game you've got to be better. You have to be. Okay? I mean, all right, let me stay on track for defense. Sorry. Oweh, 2 sacks. Pass rush, not the best game, not the worst game. It was present at times. Okay, that was good. When Wilson was holding the ball, he was moving. Okay, he wasn't just stagnant the whole time. He was on a couple plays. The middle of the field wasn't super wide open, although Darnell Washington hit us with some 2 gruesome plays over the middle in the fourth quarter.
That was after the Roquan injury, which also kind of hurt us.
Yep. Other guys came in and out too. Hamilton went in and out for a couple plays. Travis Jones. But yeah, Roquan went out early in the third quarter, I thought, with a hamstring. So we don't know what's going to be going on that. That's concerning. But yeah, I still think this defense, and Marlon Humphrey, interception in the end zone. I really thought we could have a chance to come back after that. And then we didn't. We gave it right back to him. But yeah, I mean, this defense could it have been better? Yes, but it was a pretty damn good performance overall. Especially from the 32nd ranked pass defense. They did pretty good. They kept us in the game. I mean, we've got to return the favor on offense. What'd you see on defense?
Yeah, I mean, this defense, I'm going to give the defense a little more credit. I mean, they played great for majority of that game. I mean, you can't deny I know you said the pass rush wasn't perfect. I'm not going to say it was perfect either, but it definitely did what it needed to do for a lot of that game. I mean, Russell was moving, but I felt like when it came to containing him, he didn't really do too much. I mean, he was sacked 4 times today. Like you said, Odafe Oweh with 2.5. I mean, you couldn't ask much more from this defense. Like you said, Tre'Davious White, huge plays in the red zone when we needed it the most. I mean, breaking up possible George Pickens touchdowns in that situation. I mean, that's just his vet presence, which I love. I'm glad. I mean, we talked about it when we acquired him. I mean, he was a former All-Pro. So, I mean, he was gonna bring that veteran experience, and he brought it today.
Yeah.
So you just have to give credit where credit's due when it comes to him. I hope to see more of him in those coverage situations. I hope to see him succeed in those coverage situations because he proved that, even against a great jump ball specialist that Pickens is, he was able to like get in there and interrupt. So shout out to Tre'Davious White for that. Oweh, like you said, I know we touched on it again, but I'm going to touch on it again. 4 QB hits, 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. He had a great game. He was disrupting all day. Van Noy also made a great vet play, I think, which forced a 4th down situation. I mean, the defense, you can't really say this was on them. Mm-hmm. I mean, even after the Isaiah Likely fumble in our territory, they only allowed 3, which still kept us in the game.
The turnovers, they only allowed
3. They
3.
only allowed 3. No touchdowns allowed. Even what did we talk about in the pregame? Not allowing Russell Wilson to make those huge plays down the field, not allowing him to be able to make those moon balls. He only attempted, I think he did hit the one with Pickens and that was Brandon Stevens, who again did not turn his head around for whatever reason, and which gave the Steelers a little bit of life to again probably kick another 3. But you just got the defense, I think, played great. I mean, you You only allowed 18, even with 3 turnovers. I feel like with any other team, you giving up some points.
I mean,
So I really
teams
have to give credit.
play well. We always just find a way to play worse. I'm sorry. I know I got to give them credit because they had a couple really good plays, but it's so hard to give them full credit when your team just shits the bed every single time you play. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's so frustrating.
I know.
Because they didn't do that well. Guys, they didn't score a touchdown.
They
You would have
not.
told me that Russell Wilson and the Steelers were not going to score a touchdown with this offense. I thought we were going to win easily. I would think. I mean, anybody would have thought that. So frustrating.
Very much so. I don't understand how the Steelers kick 6 field goals, we score 2 touchdowns, and we still lose.
I want to ask you a question real quick while you were on Brandon Stevens. I am really seriously questioning his ball awareness. Okay, and it's not just finding the deep ball when it's thrown at him. There was a play in the middle of the quarter, or maybe it was like second quarter, middle of it, or maybe towards the end. There was a check down to Freiermuth, and he's backpedaling. What are we doing? Did you see that play?
I think so.
Instead
yeah.
of going to make the tackle for a 2-3 yard gain, he's running backwards with his head square at Russell Wilson. I don't know what he was doing. It was really concerning. If you literally can't see the ball being thrown and you're not even guarding anybody, you're like in a zone, and you don't see it being thrown out to the flat, that was really concerning. And you might want to possibly think about putting Tre'Davious White in that spot after what he did today to Pickens. Maybe you let him start because that was unbelievable. And, of course, Freiermuth runs up and runs him over and gets extra yards. If you don't see the ball or you're just too scared to go up and tackle, what are you doing here starting? I'm sorry.
My question is also,
did you see that play?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But my question is also why do they keep putting Stevens in these situations? Like, if you see that might not have the best coverage situation, why do you keep putting him in it?
Well,
like,
I think they adjusted that in the second half because they started putting White on him, right, towards the end.
But then you wait
he broke up that pass.
You wait a whole half to do that.
Well,
and that's my concern. It's like you make these adjustments way too late.
Well,
it wasn't way too late because we were still in the game. But I'm saying, like, if this was a different team and a different scenario, we might not be in that game.
I get it, but I don't feel like it was that late because the first time he got beat was still the end of the first quarter, right?
What was that?
I think White
was that play? What was that play when they checked it down to Pickens? I think it was like on like a 2nd and 16, 3rd and 16, or one of those situations when he checked it down to Pickens and he misses the tackle. Mind you, he's backed off of Pickens. He's backed off of Pickens, and he misses the tackle and allows Pickens to pick up all 16 yards to get the first down.
Yep, that was the same sort of thing I was talking about with Freiermuth, except he wasn't backpedaling. He was just playing farther back.
I don't get it. Like, he was so he was damn near perfect last year. I don't know what happened this year.
He doesn't really seem like he wants to. He's physical when he's pressed. I don't feel like he wants to go up and make tackles, though. I feel like that is one of his biggest weaknesses, in addition to not seeing the ball, is going up to tackle people. Because he's just missing tackles every week now, it feels like. Or maybe not every week because I haven't been paying close attention, but this game I was paying laser-focused attention. And missed tackles were the culprit for him this game, in addition to that one play where he lost sight of the ball. But we're used to that. That's concerning. I mean, the Freiermuth one was very, very, very concerning because he's right in front of you and you're backpedaling away from the play. I mean, Brandon Stevens. I think you got to give White a shot. I'm sorry. I think you do. After today, and guess what? Ardarius Washington played where Marcus Williams played, and there were no lapses in coverage, or at least glaring holes. 80-yard touchdown strikes. That's the formation you got to do. You got to keep him there. And I don't think that was a coincidence either. I don't. Because why the heck would you take two of the worst players that have been hurting our defense, that being Eddie Jackson and Marcus Williams, set them aside, and guess what? Your defense has arguably one of the best games of the year. I mean, one of the best games, because I know they had a good game against Broncos, but I don't think there's coincidence there. I think you got to roll with that personnel. I think you got to switch Brandon Stevens with Tre'Davious White. You can still play Brandon Stevens, just don't put him at CB1 or 2, right? Put him in your reserve backup role, okay? Save his fresh legs. I think that's the direction you got to go. I do.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just tired of
thinking about too much on this defense today. I really can't. I know people might not want to hear this, but I think Zachary Orr did a nice job. He really did.
I mean, you can't.
Coverage was pretty good. People were making good tackles in the run game for the most part. I know they gashed just a couple times, but it wasn't consistent. Okay? I mean, before Roquan went out, he was making some pretty nice hits, especially on Harris.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping he's okay because we need him back.
Yeah. I mean, the run game was shut down for the most part for the Steelers offense. I mean, they had a couple of bursts, but it wasn't anything crazy. I mean, Najee Harris, 18 carries for 63 yards. Okay. Jaylen Warren, 9 carries for 41 yards. Najee averaged 3.5 yards per carry, and Jaylen Warren averaged 4.6 yards per carry. So I felt like it wasn't really like anything like earth-shattering that they did in their run game. And then their pass game, I mean, Russell Wilson didn't crack 100 yards until the third quarter.
No, he didn't. And a lot of those, I want to tell you, a lot of those yards were off of missed tackles. They were, like checkdowns. He wasn't going deep. And when he was, it wasn't working out. And I know we've been crapping on Stevens the whole time, but he did have a nice play on Calvin Austin on that 3rd and 1. Which I would not have called. First of all, you had somebody wide open underneath, or you could have ran the ball. I don't know what they were doing, but I'll take it because Pittsburgh sucks on offense. So, yeah, I mean, good job by the defense overall, I thought.
Yeah, I mean,
and that takeaway by Humphrey was huge. Taking advantage of a bad play by Wilson.
It could have been.
I mean, Wilson did not have a very good game, guys. I'm telling you.
He didn't, and that's what makes this game even more frustrating. I mean, he finished the game 23 of 36. For 205 and a pick, no touchdowns. Like, it's just, that's what I'm saying. Like, and then Marlowe makes that interception. That literally could have been a game-changing interception. That literally could have did something for us. I mean, if the play almost damn near after it didn't happen, who knows? But I don't know. It's just the defense. I just don't understand why this team can't find consistency. Like, when the offense is playing lights out, and then the defense is buns, but then the defense is not buns, and then the offense doesn't show up. Like, what is this
that
team?
It's a little bit more different than that because this is a reoccurring trend about this team.
And
whenever
that's the problem.
The offense never shows up, ever. I don't know why. And you want to keep saying that they got Lamar's number. This game wasn't all on Lamar Jackson. I think we can go ahead and transfer over or transition over to offense now. It was a collectively bad showing. Okay, from the very start. Henry puts it on the ground, Steelers recover right in our territory. I mean, you can't start worse than that. I mean, everything was just off a little bit. I mean, Lamar had his plays here and there. There were some drops. And I'm getting really tired of Deontay Johnson. I mean, why did you bring him in? What is he doing? What is his role? Every time I see him, he's either falling down or dropping the ball. I mean, what is going on? 2 targets today, no catches. Once it was too far, he couldn't locate the ball. Second one off his hands for a touchdown, potentially. I mean, you got to make that catch. I'm sorry. Was that maybe you saw something different on that? But that was I
would say the first throw was a little bit of an overthrow by Lamar.
The second one for a touchdown.
The second one did hit his hand, but then you can even hear the announcer say, like, Deontay didn't really do him much justice because of how close he's running to the sideline. You can only squeeze that ball in, but so much.
I still think he's a Pittsburgh Steeler at heart. I do, because he just looks like an idiot when he's playing for us right now. I'm sorry. I mean, you look at the other play against the Bengals. He falls down in the open. I mean, what are you doing to help our team right now? Anything? Nothing. I mean, you see Nelson Aguilar go in for you. He mosses somebody. I know it. It was taken back from penalty, but Aguilar looks like the better option. He's got more touchdowns. He's got more catches. He's got more yards. You look like a waste of space right now, and that could have been money we could have used to get a pass rusher or a cornerback or something. Marshall Lattimore. I mean, I don't know what Deontay Johnson's role is, but he looks like garbage right now. I think his season stats for the last 3 games is 1 catch for 6 yards. I mean, I get he's a new player, but if this offense is so damn good, like people are saying, he should be able to be implemented pretty quickly, right? Is that hard to say? I don't feel like I'm being unfair. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I feel like he's just kind of looking terrible right now.
I mean, right now, I just don't know what his fit, like what exactly did we acquire him for?
Right.
Was it just like an extra body? And I don't want to attack him because I don't know if he really knows at this point what he's there for. But like, because if you heard Monken before this game, he talks about like Tylan Wallace is out there making plays. He should get more touches maybe. Deontay, we want to incorporate him into the offense. How do we do it? I mean, we just got to find out. Keaton Mitchell, what do we do with him? We don't know. I mean, when you think about where he is in this offense, is where does he fit? Because I mean, you have Zay, you have Bate, who are playing relatively well up until today. So, and then you have Andrews who are back, and it's like, so where does he fit in? Because you still have Aguilar, who's not terrible. He's been partially reliable. If that play wasn't called back for that pre-snap penalty, I mean, it wasn't a pre-snap penalty, but it was like
illegal man downfield.
Yeah, which was a dumb play, by the way. But either way, I mean, it was a dumb flag. But
that was annoying.
Yeah. I don't know what exactly his role is yet. Like it's not. I don't want to say he's not a useful body. I mean, I mean, in the past he's been a good receiver. But it's just I don't know what his role in this offense is yet, and Monken hasn't shown us what his role in this offense is yet. So I just don't know. I mean, it's looking like it right now. I'm not gonna lie, it's looking like why did we trade for him? Like what was the purpose of trading for him at this point in time?
Yeah,
like that. I mean, I can agree with you with that sentiment. I think he'll be able to pick it up at some point, but right now it's just looking like why did we get him? If he was only going to be on the field for maybe a couple of snaps, like what was that? Just a hey, we made a trade, here you go. Like what? I don't get the purpose of this at all.
Maybe they just got it for free. I kind of forget the details.
Yeah, I mean,
which is if you got it for almost free, it was fine. But
technically, they did, but still, I'm just saying, even if it was for free, why make that trade? I still don't get it. Like I don't know. Maybe it's
fine. It's whatever. I'm just tired of him because he's not doing anything, and they don't seem like they're trying to have him do anything. But it's fine. Whatever. Running game, not very existent. But am I surprised? No. I told you if Henry was only going to get 50, 60, 70 yards in the pregame because that's what happens in these AFC North games. It's hard to get rushing yardage. I think Ravens finished with about 124, maybe 130 yards total.
Yeah.
Oh, 100 and how much?
124 rushing yards.
So I was right. Yeah. Good. Nice. Excellent. Yeah, Henry finished with about, 60, 50, 70. I don't know.
Henry 65.
65 and a touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that the running game was pretty stagnant. Justice Hill had a couple nice plays in the passing game, especially in that final drive where he turned that 3rd and 9 into like a 20-yard gain. That was pretty nice. Lamar dancing around, finding people open. But, yeah, just everything looked kind of out of sync. The tempo was out of sync. The line was out of sync. While the offensive linemen didn't give up an enormous amount of pressures, they still gave up pressures at times. And I don't know what they were doing. When the Steelers weren't getting pressure, they were getting their hands up on every single pass, and they were batting down so many passes. I don't know what the deal was for that. Was Lamar throwing them bad? Was he – or were the Steelers just that much in control? I don't know. I don't know what we were doing. Didn't seem like the offensive line had a good set on these defenders. It was pretty bad. T.J. Watt had a sack, and who was that other guy? Urbig had an impactful play. Yeah, he's the one that knocked out the first fumble, right?
Yeah.
And then our friend Patrick Queen is the one who knocked out Isaiah Likely's because he forgets to cradle the ball. He was cradling the ball, and then he stopped cradling it, and then it got knocked out. I mean, what are we doing right there? First of all, why are we throwing the ball when we're on the 7-yard line? There's like 40 seconds left. I mean, at that point, we were winning 7-6. As bad as we were playing, we had a lead going into halftime. If you would have just taken the knees, I just run it. I mean, if you bust a long run, I'd understand you could try to get some points, but you run a screen right there. I don't like the call. I know you want to get points and be aggressive, but you're too far down. And the way the game was going, you don't want to be too aggressive right there. And they were. He got stripped, fumble, recover. And yeah, that was our second fumble of the half, and that was so frustrating to watch. But yeah, and then I want to talk about, I'm going to fast forward all the way to the fourth quarter. Justice Hill on the deep wheel route that's been one of the staple plays for this offense. I mean, Lamar has got perfect touch and timing with Hill on those wheel routes. It drops it in the bucket again, and then he catches it. And as he's going to the ground, the guy, I don't even know the dude's name, 41.
Peyton Wilson.
Peyton Wilson. Who the is that? Sorry. Who? I mean, pulls it away from him, and it's an interception. And I'm just like, at that point, I knew the game was lost. I just knew it. I knew the game was over because that time we made a great play, and it's still a negative play. And it's just like, I knew we were gone. I knew it was over by that point because it just was so deflating, at least for us fans. I know the team didn't give up and they fought back, but then they went up and scored 18 and made it 18-10, and you just knew it was crazy. That was an unbelievable interception. I mean, and the fact that the officials didn't even try to review it was absolutely mind-boggling. The officials had a lot of things they could have reviewed today, and they didn't even look at it. I mean, the officials were so bad in this game again. I felt like the Ravens were getting screwed left and right. I'm sorry. I mean, what's his name? Joey Porter was basically tackling everybody and didn't get called, but the Ravens would touch somebody a little bit and they would get called for holding on offense. It was just unbelievable, and I'm not going to get into the refs. I'm not going to blame the refs for this loss, but they definitely had a hand on it. But yeah, oh my God. You may have had a point with that. Likely might not have fumbled that ball. I mean, they didn't even look at it. They didn't even review it. It was under 2 minutes. Don't you automatically review plays like that? Right? They didn't even review it.
You can't challenge it as the coach.
They didn't even review it, but they review it for Kansas City. They'd review it for any other team, and then they didn't even look at that other play either for Justice Hill. And I know some fans were like, well, why didn't Harbaugh challenge? I don't know. I wasn't too upset about challenging that because we were losing. And the way our challenges have gone, if we would have lost that timeout, it could have come to bite us in the ass. But I don't know. What do you think about that fumble or that not fumble? Sorry, that interception by Peyton Wilson. You think that deserved a second look?
I mean, well, one, I want to give credit to Peyton Wilson for not giving up on the play, even though he was beat. You got to give credit. That was incredible.
Oh, it was so
him just not giving up at the play. And he's a rookie, which is like, to have that sense as a rookie is just insane. I mean, shout out to him. But I mean, I thought as I was looking at it in real time, and as I was like, they kept showing the replays and the slow-mo, I really thought that Hill was already down while he still had the ball in possession. I mean, that's what it looked like from that point of view.
And they didn't even try to review it.
I thought his knee was down. I thought his forearm was down. And then he took the ball out. I think it was because he was already knocking the ball out. They kind of, I don't really know how they call that. I really thought that he was already down. They were going to call that back and say, yeah, I mean, he already had possession, whatever, even if it was incomplete, whatever. But I did not think that was going to result into a turnover for the Ravens. Like, as I was, like I said, as I was looking, it just really felt like he was already down. But refs saw it differently, and, you know, it turns to a turnover for the Ravens. With the likely fumble, I really thought he was just going to run out of bounds after he caught it. He was close to the sideline. I don't know why you just don't run out of bounds. Maybe you don't have to use a timeout in that situation. It's just
He
too.
looked like his forearm was down. I mean,
I
it
thought so
deserved a
too.
second look.
I thought so
I mean,
too. I
the
mean, on
elbow
both of those
counts as a
turnovers.
knee, doesn't it? I mean,
I mean,
they don't even look. They just go right on. They just give it to Pittsburgh, and it's just like, okay, first down. It's just so aggravating how this officiating works. It just seems so biased. I'm sorry. I know that. I'm glad I'm not an NFL official because I'd probably get fined for saying that, but it looks so biased. It really
yeah.
does.
I
It
mean,
looks like the teams are predetermined to be picked to win, and they're just doing what they want to do. It's what it looks like to me. I'm sorry.
I mean, it just was bad on our end. I mean, we could not hold on to the ball to save our lives today. Losing the turnover battle, you're never. I mean, unless you're Detroit and you somehow can lose the turnover battle and win a game. It just comes down to those situations where if you lose that turnover battle, you're bound to lose the game, especially with a defense like Pittsburgh's. This offense today, as great as they've been all year, what did we say in the pregame? We said that this game was going to be ugly. It was going to be a grit grind type of game, low scoring. I thought the Ravens were at least going to put up 23. They did not. It just.
But that's what I said though. If we get into that type of game, the Baltimore Ravens are going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, and what happened?
You
We
make
got
it
to that
up, you
type of
play their
game,
game, you're going to lose.
and that's what happened. I mean, when you don't allow a single touchdown and still lose by 6 field goals, that's when you kind of got to look in the mirror as an offense and say, well, damn. I mean, Lamar had some overthrows. We got to take that into account. He had some overthrows. Zay in that drop, I'm not going to lie, I was very, very devastated when he dropped that ball because it hit him right. Like, we got on Bateman for dropping that pass when the someone was in his face. But you got it, like Zay, if Lamar is keeping that play alive, and he did, he was back there dancing for like 5-10 seconds, trying to keep that play alive. He did. He finds Zay wide open. He's butt naked open. Like, you could have took that and went a couple more yards.
Well, it's so ironic that
turn around
Bateman got the first down right afterwards.
And then Bateman gets the first down. He had those clutch catches that he's been doing for a majority of the year. If you're monking, you got to get Bateman involved more, in my humble opinion. Like, you got to scheme up something for him to get him involved more because he's been making clutch catches all year. It's just what he's been doing. You got to get him involved. When Zay dropped that pass, I was like, Zay, that's a heartbreaker. That's a heartbreaker right there when you drop that because you could have had space to maybe make something happen, and you drop that, and you're just looking like, oh my God, I dropped that. But yes, you dropped that. Offensive line and these penalties, dude. We just were
How many
getting our
times was
butts.
Macari flagged today?
Maybe like 5 today. I don't even know. I
He
have to
was
double
awful.
check and look. And like, we got flagged so many times. Like, you would have just. It was bad. We still remain the most penalized team in the NFL, and we have given up the most penalty yards in the NFL. Like, when does this come down to a coaching thing and trying to get these guys in shape to not do that? Like, it's unacceptable. Like, like the penalties, the turnovers, the mistakes. It's just I'm not gonna lie, we're 11 games in right now, 10, 11 games. We just have to face the facts that this is what this Baltimore Ravens team is. This is who they are. Like, there's no turning it around. There's no much we can do or say to change anything. This is what this team is. And it's unfortunate I have to say that because they're so talented. right? You see that they're so talented and they can make the plays. The protection usually is good.
What do you mean? This is who they are. What today's performance is who they are?
I'm talking about the mistakes and the penalties and what they've been doing. It's what this team is right now.
Well, listen,
against these certain teams, this is who they've been.
Okay, I
and
see.
There's nothing
So you're saying
that.
that this is the team. This is still the same team that can't get past those two, that the Chiefs and the Steelers. Okay,
because
yeah, fair enough.
Beating themselves over and over and over. Like when it gets down to crunch time against those teams, and Gardner freaking Minshew, we cannot put them away.
I hear what you're saying.
And it's
get it.
And it's getting
Here's
frustrating now.
Here's the deal.
It's just like I'm losing faith in this team.
All right, here's the deal. We get another. Here's the good news. We got another shot at Pittsburgh, and based on the AFC standings, after what happened today, I don't think we're going to be resting our starters for the second matchup. So we'll get a shot at Pittsburgh at the bank to get back to them. So if we can right our wrongs here and turn it around and beat them, we could try to make some sort of a little bit of a comeback or a statement about ourselves. That's the good news. But as I said, a lot of things happened today in the AFC. Kansas City falls today for the first time to the Buffalo Bills, who are now 9-2, tied with Kansas City with 9 wins atop the AFC. Kansas City still has that 1 seed, but once they hit their bye week, once Buffalo hits their bye week, they might take that. We'll see. I mean, it's a half game, and then you've got Denver, who won today, who are now 6-4. They blew out the Falcons. We've got actually a huge game coming up on Sunday Night Football. I've got it on right here. Chargers, who we play on Monday, taking on the Bengals, and the Chargers are 6-3. So if the Chargers win, they bump us down to what, the 7th seed, 6th seed? So we're kind of just barely hanging in there on the balance now. We talked about it on the pregame show. This was a huge game standings-wise. Pittsburgh now is at the top of the North at 8-2. 8-2. They are 8-2. And I'm sorry, but they're not even that good. I'm sorry. 8-2. They've whooped up on 2-6 teams and narrowly escaped defeats by the Washington Commanders and the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, oh my Lord. I don't trust Russell Wilson. I don't think they're that good, but they keep winning games. And the deeper we keep falling in the hole, it's not looking good for the division. Because Pittsburgh plays Cleveland on Thursday. So, I mean, unless the Browns can pull off a stunner, I mean, this was huge. That's the bad news.
But I'm not going to lie to you.
Shot at those Steelers in a few weeks. But the margin for error, if we want any chance of the division, let alone playoff spots, we've got to get right quick. I think we will. I'm not super concerned about the offense because this is just who they are against Pittsburgh. So,
but that's a
problem. I get it. Yeah, I know.
That's a problem. You can't just say, "Oh, this is just who they are against Pittsburgh."
It is, but it is though.
But I get that. But at some point, you have to be like, okay, we have to beat Pittsburgh. You have to.
Let's do it in December 21st. Let's do it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If we make the playoffs, we're 1 and done.
Right now, you think?
We're 1 and done because this team cannot win in the close. When the pot gets hot, you can't win it. You can't win it when the pot gets hot right now.
Well,
if this game was against Kansas City and we did those mistakes we had, we might get blown out of the water. It's that serious. Like and we talked about.
I get what you're saying.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
We talked about how important this game was for standings, right? We talked about how we needed this win to try to keep momentum for the AFC North alive. We talked about it. We still came out there and made the same mistakes we always make against this team. At some point, you have to look, and I don't know if you have to look at coaching, if you have to look at personnel, players, I don't know. But right now, if the playoffs started today, we are one and done. You just have, it's the truth. It is. Like, I hate saying that to this team, but
right.
it's the truth.
Also, here's something else. We got to talk about special teams too, because if my math's correct, we would have won the game if we had made those 2 field goals. But yeah, just to finish up on that thought, I understand what you're saying, but I know we always lose to Kansas City, but the way that they lose to Pittsburgh is that they just look like they forget how to play football. I don't get that kind of sense when they play Kansas City. Like, when they play Pittsburgh, they don't know how to hold the ball. They don't know how to catch the ball. They don't know how to tackle. They don't know how to do any of those things, which is ridiculous. At least in the Kansas City losses, and we have a bunch, I know, we've looked like a football team at times that just can't get it done against those guys. This team, we absolutely beat ourselves 100% of the time. We do.
But
In all the games we play.
But when do
So
you
that's what gives
change the mindset, though?
How do we
Like,
change that?
when do you stop beating yourself?
You
Because
got to win. You got to beat them.
literally
You got to beat them.
Because right now, this is the identity of the Lamar Jackson era.
Is
that
win
the team
against everyone else
beats,
and lose to
and
the
then we
Steelers.
lose to the Steelers and Chiefs.
You're not wrong. I get it.
This is the identity of the era. Like, when do you step up and stop these 2 teams? When? You tell me. You tell me when it stops. When do we
I
stop?
wish I could. I wish I had the answer.
Because God forbid if we have to play the Steelers in the playoffs. Are you confident? Tell me right. Look me in my eyes. Tell me right now. Are you confident that we can beat the Steelers in the playoffs? Tell me right now.
I think honestly, maybe I'm just a homer. I feel like playing them in the playoffs is something they don't want. Them being Pittsburgh.
Do we want it?
As fans, no. But I think it would go a little bit differently. But regular season, here's the thing, though. Regular season, they got us. They always got us. They got us. Okay? I'm referencing a couple years ago when we played the Pittsburgh Steelers and we destroyed them in the playoffs. So I'm feeling really confident about this team against them if they could just not forget the fundamentals. Because you know why? This was one of the better performances by this defense. That's why. Against a 7-2 team. Okay? And this is the last ranked pass defense. So imagine if they could have played like they played against the Browns on offense. That would have been enough to win.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Gonz. I'm lost. I'm losing. I have no expectations for this team.
Okay.
I don't.
So this
I don't. And it's sad. And it's sad for me to say this, but I want to hold out hope, but I'm slowly losing it because these are the games that are going to matter. These are the games that are going to matter. And if you cannot execute on all phases, you will lose the game. And that was an example of what happened today. We missed 2 field goals.
Yeah, let's
Justin
talk about
Tucker
special
missed
teams real quick.
2 field goals that pretty much we win the game 22-18 if Justin Tucker hits those 2 field goals. We win the game 22-18. I mean, and second of all, why?
Can I ask you one quick question? Did Harbaugh actually say Tuck's got to make kicks?
I didn't hear it. I didn't see it on social media. I have to watch the post game.
Same.
But why is Keaton Mitchell not being put into the offense? Why are we only using him on special teams? Is my question. Why are we not utilizing him? We know what he knew when he ran. Like, I don't understand it. Harbaugh's talking about, oh, it could be a three-headed monster back there. Where's the third monster?
Well, I think they're still starting to ease him back in. But yeah, but that the contradictory thing to that would be you're having him return punts. So I don't know.
You can't say that you're having
I don't know. Yeah, you have a point there.
Here's if you're trying to ease him in, give him some carries. Give him some carries out of the backfield. Have him catch.
I don't think he got one today, did he?
No, he didn't get a single carry.
So he has one carry in the past 2 games. Mm-hmm.
Where is Mitchell in this offense? Where does he fit?
All right, we're gonna wrap up shortly. Justin Tucker, I want to hit one more thing, and then I got a couple, 1 or 2 questions for you about this team. Justin Tucker, it's the same shit every week. He's hooking them all left. They're all going left. Every time he kicks, it's left. Left. What is the issue? Is he washed? Harbaugh said it was a technique problem. Is it something to do with Jordan Stout with the hold? But what is the issue? Because it's costing us games. And you would absolutely hate. Imagine, what if we are playing Pittsburgh in the playoffs? What if we were playing Kansas City or any team in the playoffs and we need a field goal to win it?
Especially those are 2 teams who know how to block. 2 teams who know how to block field goals at a pretty decent clip as well.
And they didn't even block them today. They didn't. Close.
No, they didn't. But I'm saying, in the past, they've been known to get their hands up and block. Yeah.
But that wasn't even an issue today. Today was just hooking them. And then you get shown up by Chris Boswell, who honestly looks like the best kicker in the NFL. That dude is just drilling stuff from 50 plus. And just boom, down the middle. Every
thing
kick.
About Tucker, he missed
what's the issue? What's the problem?
He missed the 47 and he missed the 50, but he drilled the 54.
So he can make them all.
So it's not like he can't.
Is it something between the ears?
I don't know. Honestly, maybe you switch the holder. I don't know. Is it Stout? I don't know. I really don't know what's going on with him. But at the end of the day, you gotta fix it. And it's hard for me to get. I know we're giving Tucker a lot of leeway because he saved us 90 billion times.
I'm not giving it any more leeway. I'm done.
I know you're not. But for me, at least, I've given Tucker a lot of leeway. Saved us 90 billion times in the past. He has. He just has, right? So, but dude, it's this is the first time he's missed 2 field goals in 2022 in the same game. It's the first time. I don't know what it is about this year. Like I said, I don't know if we need to replace the holder. If it is Stout, maybe we get somebody else to hold. If it's the technique, it's the kicking. I don't know if he's in his own head. I don't know what the issue is, but we got to fix it because you're going to need him in the clutch. When it gets cold, you're going to need him. It has to be resolved. Special teams coach, you got to look in the mirror and say, okay, what is the issue and get it resolved? Because you can't have him missing. Those were gimmies. Mm-hmm. The 47, that's a gimme for Tucker. Pretty much a gimme. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Thankfully, he didn't miss an extra point today, and he did hit that 54-yarder. But
he hit the 54-yarder, but missed from 47 and 50.
We got to check in and see if Harbaugh said that, because if he's now calling him out just single-handedly, which is crazy. I've never seen Harbaugh say that before. If it's true, then you got an issue on your hands. But yeah, all right. Just to go ahead, we're going to start wrapping this up. Is the I think you kind of already answered it, but can you please just reiterate? Are we done? Is this over?
I'm not going to lie to you.
Or do we still have hopes for a Super Bowl?
I'm not. Right now, I have no hope for a bowl. I have to be honest with you. I don't. My expectations for this team, you just have to look like.
So after one game, you're throwing the towel?
Not just after one game, Gonz. It's just,
okay.
it's the consistent. It's the consistency with this team when it comes to those teams. Because when you look at it in the future, you have to get past those teams to get to a bowl.
Not Pittsburgh, Kansas City.
I get that, but that's my point. You have to get past them in order to win a bowl. You have not shown me yet that you can beat them when you need to. I don't have faith that we can do it. I don't. Because it's the same mistakes, it's the same penalties, it's the same drops, it's the same stuff. I don't know what gets into this team when we play those teams, but we can't beat them. Right now, I have no expectations. I don't. You can't tell me that this is a team that can win the bowl if you can't do that. If you can't beat them, you can't do it. I'm sorry. Because Kansas City's going to be looking you in the face if you, first of all, forget even Kansas City in the playoffs. You have to secure a spot. Our next couple of games, Chargers, a tough defensive matchup. No matter what their offense looks like, the Chargers are tough on defense. You have the Eagles, who are looking dominant on both sides of the ball. Giants, You see the Steelers again on December 21st, and then 4 days later, you got the Texans.
Merry Christmas.
Merry freaking Christmas. So at that point, you have to win at least. You have to beat the Chargers on Monday night. You have to. You just have to. The Eagles, you have to pray.
Well, the good news is we do have the head-to-head tiebreaker over Denver. But, yeah, this Chargers game is going to be huge, especially if we don't win the division, because that will give them the head-to-head tiebreaker if they beat us. So, I don't know. I've got the game on right here. Do we need the Bengals to win this game?
Well, you have to
we got the 2 games on them.
That is true, but you also have to look at it like while we do have the 2 games over them, their season isn't over yet. So, I mean, I know
this is tough now. Now you kind of got yourself in this little muck of teams that's, I'm not going to say oh my gosh, I'm watching Gus Edwards carry the ball and get stopped. You got yourself in this little muck of AFC teams who are all clawing at each other for a wild card spot. So now I think I think we're kind of like, we're on the edge of that right now. But if we lose to the Chargers, that's our season. Like, our season will now become throwing us in that pool of mud with the other AFC teams trying to scratch and claw their way for a wild card spot. I don't want that to happen, so we need to beat the Chargers. Because if we don't, we're joining them.
I'm also looking at the Steelers' schedule. They got Browns, Bengals, Browns over the next 3 weeks. And then they got Eagles on December 15th. Then they have us again, and then they have the Chiefs. So their next stretch of games is nothing but AFC North matchups for them.
Okay, that's very helpful. Okay, Eagles and then us.
Yes.
So if the Eagles
then Chiefs.
so if the Eagles and Chiefs can take care of business, and then if we can just get our freaking stuff together and beat them, they could potentially lose 3 in a row. Because I don't think you can play how they've been playing the past couple games and get away with it against Kansas City, get away with it against Philadelphia. I don't think you can.
You can.
And by God, I'm going to give ours the benefit of the doubt. I don't think we're going to score 10 points. I think we can score more the second time around. I'm giving us the benefit of the doubt. But here's the thing, though. I'm never picking us again to beat the Steelers until we do it.
It's hard.
So when we have our pregame show, I'm picking a loss until they show me that they can win. Because every time I keep saying Ravens are going to turn it around, Ravens are going to turn around. They can't, ever. So
it's hard to believe them.
Yeah.
It's really hard to believe them.
Big game coming up next Monday night. We'll be back next week to talk about it. We've got the LA Chargers on the road on Monday Night Football. Will this offense bounce back? Will this defense continue its stretch of dominance? We have to – all we can do is wait.
That's going to be another tough defensive matchup against the team that's been kind of rolling lately.
It'll be another edition of the Harbaugh Bowl.
It's not going to be an easy game to win at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at all. Like, but you have to win it. You have to.
So You heard it
I
from
just
Dom first. This is a must-win on Monday
I
night
don't
coming
like
up.
I said, I don't have any expectations for this team right now. They got to show me something. I'm not gonna lie to
All
you.
right.
Like they quite literally have to show me something because right now
Well,
you go into the playoffs, it's looking like a collapse in the playoffs again. Right now, like
fair
they
enough.
got to show me something. They have to. So
Fair enough. Um, but anyway, yeah, Ravens take another L to the Steelers. Lamar now falls to 1-4, and the Ravens are now 1-8 in their last 9 matchups with the Pittsburgh Steelers under Coach Harbaugh. So yeah, that is what it is today. We're gonna get on up out of here. This will be going up on YouTube immediately right after this. So if you can't catch the rest of it in our live, make sure you check it out over there. And those of you on YouTube, thanks for clicking on us and giving our content a try. Appreciate it. And if you like it, please leave a like and a subscription and comment down below. Because we try to go live at least twice a week on Instagram, and then we try to upload 2 videos a week, pregame and postgame. And then in the off season, we try to get out at least 1 episode per week as well. So we want to continue to do that, and we're still trying to get a little bit more consistent, but we still appreciate your guys' support, even if you're clicking on us for the first time or you're a reoccurring visitor. But anyway, I'm going to go up and wrap up. Dom, you got anything to say for the viewers before we head out?
very embarrassing loss.
Dom's
You got to
got no
bounce
faith in
back.
the team.
I don't. I have no faith in this team right now. Disappointing loss. You have to bounce back. You have to bounce back, and you got to beat the Chargers. We'll talk about that pregame next week.
I think there's still some hope for this team, but yeah, it's as for anything different. Yeah, it doesn't look any different because they lost to the Chiefs and Steelers yet again this year. So we're hoping that can still turn around. We got a little time left. We
The
got 6
only
games
thing
left to
that made
fix
me
it.
feel the only thing that made me feel good about today is the fact that the Chiefs lost. The only
That,
thing that
and
made
I
me
feel
feel good
like our
about today.
defense, our defense could maybe extend a little bit of good play now since they had a good game for once. Yeah, that's good. We'll see. There's a lot of questions to be answered, and I'm hoping that we can get some of these answers in the coming weeks. But anyway, we're gonna get up on out of here. I'm gonna probably finish watching this Chargers Bengals game. It's tied at 0 in the first. But yeah, we're gonna get on up out of here now. You guys have a great night. We'll see you for pregame, and yeah, have a good one. Good night, everybody. This is Dom and Gonz signing out, and let's go Ravens.